remember this. Way back when, I worked at a beautiful music station, and goodness those no longer exist. Nadia's theme from Young and Restless, 7.5 minutes. It's the bathroom song. And God would beat it, exactly.
Stairway to Heaven.
Stairway to Heaven. Led Zeppelin. It's the bathroom song. No. I know it wasn't on the playlist, but I had to go. You know, it's not about trying to find something that's long enough to go to the bathroom. It's about engaging with listeners. Compelling content for viewers. Okay. We all know in this room that the path to riches is the content. That in an increasingly converged society, in terms of media, this is a whole different thing I feel in terms of the economics of what we do as broadcasters and what business models are going to have to develop in the future so that we can still be successful. We're content providers. We just have many more distribution channels. If the content's not any good, nobody's going to watch it. Nobody's going to listen to it. Nobody's going to consume it, so we can't tie advertising dollars to it. It's not about the technology. The last thing I'll say, and we fight this. I know we all fight this. I was at it was last summer, I was invited to a gathering of people to talk about new media, how you teach it, what you're doing in your program, and it was an interesting discussion. I walked away a little depressed, very confused, very conflicted. Maybe that's the best way to say it. Because everybody's doing this, and everybody's doing that, and so on. And it seems to me in a lot of cases we fall in love with the technology, but we forgot it's about the story. It's about telling the story. It's about telling compelling content. In order to teach some of the new things, we stop teaching basic storytelling, basic writing, and basic shooting, and basic editing. Or if we're teaching it, we're not putting as much time into it as we want to do because we feel we can't. I think that if we continue to teach the basics on the content side, we have a much better chance of convincing our students that technology is just a tool. But if we talk about mastering the DVD and this menu and that menu and how we put it on websites to be interactive and so on, all that's important. We need to teach it, but after they really have a firm foundation in the basics. At my age, it's probably not a good idea, but I trained weekly in martial arts. Something's been a big part of my life. And my master instructor always says, if you're ever attacked, do what you remember from white belt from the very beginning, because it's effective and it's simple. Don't get fancy. That's when you get yourself into trouble. And I think with students, sometimes we push these advanced concepts and these new concepts and these new technologies that we forgot that it's about finding a compelling subject and telling your story. We forgot that it's about not that minor that you spent 3 hours on with all the reverb and the transitions and the movie drops and so on, but it's about, did you read the weather forecast so that somebody felt like you really wanted them to take an umbrella today? So, that's kind of my soapbox at the end. My apologies, but I'm big on that. Any questions or thoughts or discussion? I think, based on my watch, I'm out of time, Barry, but
keep on going. Questions?
Again, as I said, these are some ideas, some things that work for me. I'm under no illusion I've got all the answers, nor have I figured everything out. But it works.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm reminded by the fact that I learned technologies and I graduated with the IBM Selectric. And you started on this theory is important. What do you do, or how do you approach the issue of not even, learning one editing software versus another editing software, but we're in an era of really rapid technological change, and the next thing might not even look like editing software. So, what in this process do you do to make your students ready to learn 10 new technologies over the course
Let me use the editing software analogy. Because again, I learned to edit audio on reel tape with a razor blade. And you learned that there were 2 edit points, the beginning edit point and the ending edit point. Or for video, for those who do video, it's the in and the out. Alright? We teach it that way. In order to make the edit, you need 2 editing points. I use the Microsoft Word analogy, which really just look at me like, wow, I never know I did that. I said, how do you edit text in Microsoft Word? Well, I highlight it, so you have a beginning edit point and an ending edit point. Because we're always going to put video together that way. We're always going to bring it down to that very basic level of there's a start and there's a finish. And no matter what the software looks like or does, you're going to need a first point and a second point. That's it. Now, for those of us that learned on analog tape decks, and there's 3-point editing, that just totally befuddles them. Although we still teach, believe it or not, we still teach 3-point editing. They have to do one assignment with an edit controller and a source deck and a destination deck. And because we find a lot of these smaller markets, you know, at least the live truck still has tape-to-tape editing. Okay, not everybody has laptop editors in the field. I had a student a couple years ago that went to Louisville. Wonderful young woman. She's in law school at Michigan State now. And gives me this big hug after her internship at one of the stations in Louisville and said, what was that for? She said, thank you for teaching me tape-to-tape editing. And I said, you hated that assignment. You were kicking and screaming and wanting to be fired because of that assignment. She said, yeah, but I was the only intern there that knew how to do it. I'm the only one who got tape. So we take it down to the very basics of what did we do when we had analog technology that translates over and is going to be there with the next generation. You mentioned computers. I don't teach anymore. I created the course and hand it off to somebody else for the basic computer course. We teach students, how do you buy a computer? What is RAM? What is hard drive space? What are they used for? What do you need them for? Because the next computer is still going to have some kind of storage, whether it's optical or hard disk. It's still going to have some kind of memory. And even if it's your mobile device, that translates, because if we're pushing content to mobile devices now, and we're all talking about that, we're starting to teach it, we're starting to come up with a way to do it, but they have to understand that your limitations go back to what you learned in that Computer 101 class. That's the foundation, those are the basics.
And I think that I'm your odd person out in the room, not just because I'm the only girl, but I teach elementary kids, and so I really do feel like your idea of I call it the conceptual approach, but the bottom line is it's helping your teachers understand